what is your take on the school of comedy, your school of comedy? Is it more like the Kapil Sharma comedy, or is it like more irreverent like Samay Raina?
See, I came much before
Yeah,
than
I know.
both of them. So I haven't followed any school. I haven't confined myself to comedy, and I don't relate to comedy as much as I do to satire. Now that's a different form. What you see in Movers and Shakers is not a comedy show. It is political satire or social satire. Now that's a completely different craft.
Yeah.
Now what these two guys do, I mean, Samay I haven't watched enough, but he's very good. His latest video that I have watched, his content is extremely good. Except that my advice to him: why do you resort to abuses? It's not important because your content is so good; it doesn't require those expletives at all. But I guess this whole new generation is too cool, you know, and they think that it's okay to abuse. And so to each his own. I'm not saying, you know, it's just my suggestion that, you know, even without that, he will be equally effective. What Kapil does, he does sketch comedy. That's as far removed from my craft as chalk is from cheese. You know, zameen aur asman ki duri hai usme. So he does his thing, which he's good at. I do what I'm good at and comfortable with. So as I said that, you know, you have to pursue your vocation.
Yes.
You know, so this is something that satire is more academic. I feel that it has a lot of intellect involved in that, and that's a different craft. You know, so that's straight from the hip and off the cuff, and so yeah, all of us survive.
Yeah, but when you were doing satire, you know, at the peak with Movers and Shakers, Simply Shekhar, did you face any kind of opposition from anyone?
Not that I knew of.
No.
No.
But everyone was like...
Everybody was cool. Everybody was okay with it. As a matter of fact, if I was not irreverent to any guest, he would feel insulted. He said, "What is wrong with me? You haven't pulled my leg. You haven't been... You're irreverent to me."
Can you recall any?
I remember one guy who was a pop star, and he said that, and I forget his name. So he said, when I got the invite to be on M&S, and it used to be the biggest thing to be on M&S, and he said, I went and told my mom, he says, you know, can you believe that I have been invited on Movers and Shakers? I'm so excited. Bas main gaya aur aadhe ghante mein zaleel hoke aaya. So, and then he was disappointed कि सर आपने मेरी टांग खिंचाई नहीं की, आपने कुछ बोला ही नहीं है सर, रूट के मुझे बुरा लगे, और बुरा लगता तो मुझे अच्छा लगता. So, you know.
But I think that is the difference between satire and roasting.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
That roasting, you do feel attacked.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yes.
You were once hailed as the Amitabh Bachchan of television. How do you look at that moniker now?
I think it's just an epithet. It's just a way of saying that you are, you know, excelling in your craft. So yeah, it's a good compliment. It's a wonderful compliment to be known as Amitabh Bachchan, because, you know, he is the epitome of everything which is the best in our industry. So yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. Do you think when you were doing Movers and Shakers and KBC came in and the daily soaps came in, that language of television changed a little bit, that maybe would have discouraged you to step away?
No, not at all. I just wanted to do it for a specific period of time. As an actor, I wanted to explore myself, my acting abilities, and explore other roles. If I had just sat there in the chair doing the same thing, as a matter of fact, when somebody asked me, why did you leave Movers and Shakers, and I said, because I was good at it and I was getting better at it. And that was dangerous for me, because that would lead to complacency, and that would lead to the fact that I would just be very comfortable doing that, and I will keep enjoying doing that and do nothing else. So it was very important for me to, you know, move away from it and pick up newer challenges.
Yeah, I feel you've constantly experimented
Yes.
right from the start of your career.
Yes.
Even in television when you did Dekh Bhai Dekh, which is so iconic.
Yes, I did Dekh Bhai Dekh, and which was polar opposite was Reporter,
Yeah.
which I did. I did, you know, Andaz, I did Amar Prem, I did a lot of stuff. I did a show on Star Plus called Mai, which was about a self-obsessed megalomaniac actor. And that was one of my favorite shows that I've done. Very intense, very nice. Till this guy decides that, you know, he discovers that he's dying of a brain tumor, and then he realizes he's as mortal as anybody else, and he comes crashing down. That was the story and how this beautiful relationship with his makeup man, who he stands by his side and takes care of him. So very, very emotional story. So that's so I have experimented with different kind of roles, and right from Utsav, which was so different from, say, Tridev or Anubhav or Sansar or any other film that I have done, and then Dekh Bhai Dekh and Reporter, then Moovers and Shakers, Laughter Challenge, then Pole Cole, and whole lot of other things now, Ghalib and Sahir and Manto. So the journey has been like diverse.
Yeah, you've been constantly re-experimenting.
Ji.
But I feel that do you feel like you don't get enough credit for anything except comedy? Matlab
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. That's not true at all. Because
as much as you should get.
I got a lot of praise for Hira Mandi
Yes.
for that role. I got a lot of praise for Reporter. I got a lot of praise for Utsav. So that's not true. Whenever I have done some serious stuff and I have some good stuff coming along, so hopefully it would be liked and I would be praised for a different thing.
In your journey from Utsav to Hira Mandi, I've always seen you also take up roles that a few male actors would, which is, your films always had women at the forefront as well. They had such strong characters.
Yes.
And you had no qualms playing those. Was that a conscious choice, or
No,
was
not
it
really,
difficult?
not really. But yeah, I mean, I just picked up everything that came my way. I mean, Utsav was such a delight. I mean, to be just chosen as a hero opposite Rekha in that film, which it was the story of Charudat and Vasant Sena. So in that sense, yes, I mean, Rekha was a bigger star and she had a bigger role, maybe whatever. But I was equally important and I was noticed, so that was nice. And I did a film called Nache Mayuri, which
It's
was
a
a big hit. But
bachelor.
then, that revolved around the protagonist too, and her fight and survival, and how, she loses her leg and still comes out a winner. And I was this guy. I remember I played this he was the hero, but he was negative. And so when her legs amputated, he leaves her in the lurch and then comes back when she becomes very famous. Or even Pati Parmeshwar, which I did with, Dimple. And when I came back and I'm asking for forgiveness, I remember my father was a very big doctor. He was watching the film in Jaipur in the theatre. And he's saying, please forgive me, take me back. So the audience said, Maro sale ko. So my father was very upset.
Yeah.
He said, why would you do a role like that? I said, but that's the victory of the character. I wanted people to hate me. So he said, yeah, but you just done a film like Utsav for you to do. I said, that's the challenge, that you have to just get away from any image that you have conformed to and then do something diametrically opposite.
Yeah, I remember Pati Parmeshwar was stopped by CBFC because
You remember that, yes, for being regressive.
Yeah.
He said, I mean, I wonder why they did that, because there's so many of these stories coming like that. There's so many shows like that, where men have really badly treated women and
they get passed.
and they get away with it and they get passed. And why would Pati Parmeshwar stop it? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Calling it regressive.
Yeah. You work with both Dimple and Simple, right?
Yes.
Both the sisters.
Yes.
Do you remember how different they were as actors?
Oh, they were completely different. Completely. Dimple, of course, was far more glamorous. She was like a huge, big star. And you could always see her like a Bobby in her, or Sagar, and all of those images that entailed her. Simple was, she was not as successful as her sister. And she had done only about 2, 3, 4 films. But she was not too ambitious at all. Like Dimple would try very hard for her role and for her performance, and so they were different from each other.
Yeah, it was strange.
I remember working with Madhuri in my second film,
Yeah.
which was Manavati, and it was a very interesting story that when I got a call from the director and he said, so now you're working with Rekha, but I have this story, but I have a new girl, would you work with her? So I said, well, if Rekha could work with me, why wouldn't I work with a new girl? And said, who is she? So he said, there's this girl who stays like close by to you in JB Nagar. I was in Andheri, Mahakali Road, and she says her name is Madhuri Dixit, would you? So I said, I'd like to go and meet her. Yeah, definitely. So we both went, and like on my motorcycle, we both went and met her. And I remembered like when she came out and to meet, she was in a bedroom. She came out in the drawing room to meet her, and I was like, oh my God, like such a pretty looking girl. And then we got around talking, and I said, yeah, I'm doing the film, and she was like a huge discovery.